Patriots fans watched a game that felt like two completely different realities colliding into one afternoon. The first half was confusing, frustrating, and honestly hard to recognize as New England football. The rhythm was off, the execution felt rushed, and nothing seemed to flow the way it should. Miami moved the ball early. New England struggled to impose its identity. And for a moment, it looked like one of those strange divisional games where things simply refused to click. But then halftime arrived, adjustments were made, and what came out of the tunnel was a team that looked locked in, focused, and ruthless in the way championship teams know how to be. The second half was a complete takeover. The Patriots shut Miami out entirely after the break and turned control into dominance. The offense exploded with precision and balance. The defense suffocated every attempt at momentum, and the final score told a story of authority rather than survival. A 38-10 win is not just a victory, it is a statement. Finishing the regular season with 14 wins and only 3 losses, securing the number 2 seed in the conference, and heading into the postseason with confidence feels surreal when you remember where expectations were months ago. If someone had said this team would be sitting here, most people would have laughed and talked about sneaking into the playoffs as a lower seed. Instead, New England earned its position through consistency, growth, and learning how to win in different ways. What stood out most in this game was how the Patriots adapted. The passing game did not need to carry everything, and that is important. Drake May delivered exactly what the moment required. He was efficient, composed, and disciplined. 14 completions for 191 yards and a touchdown might not jump off the page for people obsessed with box scores, but the tape tells a much richer story. He protected the football, made smart decisions, extended plays with his legs, and kept the offense in control. A quarterback rating well above 100 and no turnovers speaks volumes about maturity. There was no ego, no chasing numbers, no forcing throws just to make headlines. That is how winning football is played. The ground game was the heartbeat of the second half, and it completely broke Miami's resistance. Ramondre Stevenson was unstoppable. 7 carries turned into 131 rushing yards, and when you add his impact as a scorer, 3 total touchdowns changed the entire tone of the game. Every time he touched the ball, it felt like something explosive could happen. He ran with power, vision, and confidence, attacking the line of scrimmage instead of hesitating. Since returning from injury, he has looked like a different player, decisive and fearless, and that confidence is contagious across the offense. Complementing him was Travion Henderson, who provided speed and balance. Together, they formed a combination that defenses hate preparing for. One brings thunder, the other brings lightning, and when both are clicking, it opens everything else. Miami had no answers once the Patriots committed fully to that approach. Instead of forcing the pass, New England leaned into what was working, and the results were devastating. Hunter Henry quietly continued one of the best seasons of his career. He has become a safety valve every quarterback dreams of having, always finding space, always reliable. 5 catches for 56 yards might seem modest, but his presence was felt on critical downs, keeping drives alive and settling the offense when things tightened. Tight ends who understand timing and leverage are invaluable in playoff football, and Henry has embraced that role completely. His chemistry with Drake May continues to grow, and that connection will matter when defenses tighten coverage outside. The defense deserves just as much credit for the turnaround. Early struggles gave way to dominance once adjustments were made. Pressure up front started collapsing pockets, forcing rushed throws and mistakes. The interception that flipped momentum felt like the turning point where confidence shifted entirely. From that moment on, Miami looked unsure, while New England looked relentless. Gap discipline improved, tackling became sharper, and the unit played with controlled aggression rather than reaction. By the fourth quarter, the outcome was already decided, and Drake May did not even need to take another snap. That detail matters more than people realize. Winning so decisively that your quarterback can rest late in the game is not about padding stats. It is about control. This team did not chase style points. It chased the win, and that philosophy has carried them all season. As the regular season closes, the reality sets in that New England is back in the playoff for the first time in years, and this time it feels different. There is balance, depth, and belief. The offense can beat you in multiple ways, the defense can adjust on the fly, and the locker room looks unified around one goal. Momentum matters in January, and right now the Patriots are carrying plenty of it, built not on hype, but on disciplined execution and the quiet confidence that comes from knowing exactly who you are when the lights get brighter. As impressive as the win itself was, the conversation around this team has grown even louder because of what it represents on a league-wide level. Performances like this force people to reevaluate narratives they were comfortable holding on to earlier in the season. Drake May has become the center of that discussion, not because he chases attention, but because his impact is undeniable. He does not need inflated numbers to prove his value. He influences games by controlling tempo, making the right reads, and stepping up when moments demand it. His mobility added another layer in this game, extending drives and punishing defenses that lost discipline, and that kind of contribution rarely shows up fully in traditional statistics. What makes a season even more impressive is the context. He has elevated the players around him rather than relying on a perfect situation. The offense does not feel forced or predictable. It adapts based on what the defense gives, and that flexibility starts at quarterback. There is a calm presence when he is under center, an understanding that every drive does not need fireworks to be successful. Sometimes it is about field position, sometimes about patience, and sometimes about letting the run game dominate while he manages the details. That balance is rare for a young quarterback and speaks to how quickly he has grasped the demands of professional football. The backfield has become a genuine weapon because of that balance. Ramondre Stevenson's resurgence has changed the personality of this offense. Since returning healthy, he has attacked defenders instead of reacting to them. His vision through traffic has improved, and his burst through the second level has been game-changing. Defenses that overcommit to stopping him quickly learn how dangerous that approach can be, especially when Henderson enters with fresh legs and speed. Together, they force opponents to respect the run on every down, which opens space everywhere else on the field. The receiving group has also embraced its roles. Even when targets are spread out, there is no frustration, only efficiency. When opportunities arise, they are taken, and when they do not, blocking and route discipline still matter. That kind of buy-in does not happen by accident. It reflects a locker room that understands winning requires sacrifice. Tight ends, especially, have been critical in bridging gaps when coverage tightens, and Hunter Henry's reliability has turned him into a steady presence during chaotic moments. Defensively, the growth has been just as important. The unit has learned how to weather early storms without panicking. Early drives no longer dictate the rest of the game. Adjustments at halftime have become a strength, and the pass rush has found its rhythm at the right time. When pressure arrives without excessive blitzing, the entire secondary benefits. Quarterbacks hesitate, windows shrink, and mistakes follow. That formula becomes even more dangerous in playoff football, where one rush decision can flip a game. There are still areas that demand attention. Coverage choices have occasionally been conservative, allowing short completions that keep opponents on schedule. Against elite playoff offenses, that approach can be risky. Aggression, especially with talented corners capable of playing tight coverage, may be necessary to disrupt timing and force tougher throws. The potential is there, and when this defense plays assertively, it looks like a group capable of dictating terms rather than reacting. Special teams have quietly added confidence as well. Knowing points can be secured from long distance changes how coaches manage drives late in halves. It influences fourth down decisions and removes pressure from the offense to be perfect. Those hidden advantages become magnified in January, when every possession feels heavier and margins shrink. Now the stage shifts to the postseason, and the path forward is clear. The Patriots have earned a right to play at home, in familiar conditions, against an opponent that willingly steps into that environment. Cold weather, crowd noise, and playoff intensity are not abstract ideas in New England. They are part of the identity. This team understands what it means to protect home turf, and the energy around the organization reflects that understanding. Facing Los Angeles brings its own narrative. Talent exists on both sidelines, but momentum and belief cannot be measured on paper. New England enters this matchup with confidence built through weeks of steady improvement rather than one explosive performance. The offense knows it can win through patience or aggression. The defense knows it can adjust when challenged. That combination creates a dangerous opponent, especially for a visiting team walking into Foxborough in January. The most important thing is that this group does not appear satisfied. There's no sense of relief, no feeling that the job is finished just because the playoffs have arrived. The mindset feels sharper than that. Every game now carries weight. Every mistake is magnified, and every opportunity must be seized. The Patriots have positioned themselves not just to participate, but to compete with purpose. And as the postseason begins, that quiet confidence may be the most powerful advantage they carry forward. What stands out when watching this team now is how comfortable they look in pressure situations. There's no sense of panic when something goes wrong early, and that is usually the biggest difference between teams that fade in the playoffs and teams that make real noise. When a drive stalls or a coverage breaks down, the response is immediate and composed. You see it in the body language on the sideline and in the way the next series is approached. That mental toughness has been built throughout the season, especially in games where New England had to adjust rather than dominate from the opening snap. The offensive line deserves recognition in that evolution. Their ability to control the line of scrimmage in the second half against Miami was not accidental. The communication improved, the angles were cleaner, and the push up front allowed the running backs to hit holes with confidence. When a line plays like that, it simplifies everything for the quarterback. Drake did not have to rush his reads or escape collapsing pockets constantly. Instead, he could operate within structure, step up when needed, and use his legs selectively rather than desperately. Another element that continues to grow is situational awareness. Third downs, red zone possessions, and late half decisions have become strengths instead of question marks. The Patriots are finishing drives with touchdowns rather than settling, and defensively, they are forcing opponents into difficult choices. That attention to detail becomes critical in the postseason, where one failed third down or one blown assignment can swing an entire game. Right now, New England looks prepared for those moments rather than hoping they go their way. The leadership within the roster has also become more visible. Veterans are setting the tone during critical stretches, while younger players are responding instead of shrinking. That balance matters when emotions run high. You can feel that this is not a team relying on speeches or hype to get through games. They rely on preparation and trust. When someone makes a play, the response is calm acknowledgement, followed by immediate focus on the next snap. Looking ahead, matchups will become chess matches rather than talent showcases. Adjustments within games will matter as much as game plans heading in. The encouraging sign for New England is how quickly they have shown they can pivot. When something does not work, they move away from it without stubbornness. That flexibility has allowed them to exploit weaknesses once they appear, and that skill often separates contenders from pretenders in January. There is also an underlying hunger that cannot be ignored. Several players on this roster have waited years to experience playoff football again in this environment. That motivation does not guarantee wins, but it fuels preparation and focus. Every practice rep, every film session, and every minor correction carries added weight. This team understands that opportunities like this are not guaranteed, and that awareness sharpens everything they do as the postseason pressure continues to build. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to Patriots Hub and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our New England Patriots. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers circulating around the league have ignited one of the most explosive rumors of the season. Tyreek Hill may be preparing to abandon the Miami Dolphins and resurface in the most unlikely of destinations, the New England Patriots. While nothing has been confirmed, Multiple league insiders suggest that quiet conversations and strategic positioning behind the scenes have opened the door to a scenario that once seemed unthinkable. Hill, widely regarded as one of the most electrifying playmakers in football, has been the centerpiece of Miami's offensive identity. However, speculation is growing that internal tensions, long-term vision disagreements, and contractual nuances could be pushing both sides to reassess their future together. Sources close to the situation hint that Hill's camp is monitoring alternative paths that could offer not only competitive stability, but also a redefined leadership role. The Patriots' interest, according to rumors, is rooted in a desire to shock the division and accelerate their offensive rebuild. Adding a proven superstar with Hill's speed and reputation would instantly alter the balance of power and send a clear message that New England is ready to reinsert itself into the spotlight. From a strategic standpoint, the idea of Hill lining up against his former teammates twice a season has fueled endless debate among executives and fans alike. Skeptics argue that such a move would be too controversial, too expensive, and too risky, especially given the fierce rivalry between the franchises. Yet history has shown that the NFL thrives on bold decisions, and rival lines are often crossed when ambition outweighs tradition. For now, the league watches closely as silence from both camps only amplifies the noise. Whether this rumor fades or evolves into one of the most stunning moves in recent memory remains to be seen. What is certain is that the mere possibility has already reshaped conversations across locker rooms and front offices, reminding everyone that in football, no allegiance is ever truly permanent. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our New England Patriots, be sure to subscribe to Patriots Hub and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.